Hello. Money back with a new video after many months. Sorry about the wait, but man, do I have a heck of a video for you. I hope you'll all enjoy this as I've been working on this video for literal months while also working on the webcomic. I'm a busy gal, like the title says. This video will have pretty much everything you need to know about gels, gel users, and even some info on Aultimin. Also maybe even a few surprises. Before we jump right into the video, let me be a typical YouTuber for a moment. First things first, I would like to give a huge thank you and shout out to my Patreon members. Thank you all for your support these past months. I hope you're enjoying the webcomic so far. Sorry I'm so slow with updates. I'm doing my best. Not a patron? That's alright. You can support me for $0 by liking, commenting, subscribing and spreading Gel Heroes to your friends. Do it now. Please. You can also join the Discord server as well to interact with this amazing community. Well, that's enough stalling. Without further ado, let's begin the video. If you've watched the other two videos, which you should have, you know the drill. Here are the timestamps. This video is pretty long, so I understand if you wanna skip around. However, I still ask that you watch the full thing as this took a ton of work. Please, I am begging. Gels are mysterious organisms filled with magical kinetic energy. They are created by extracting the magical DNA of an Aultimin, which are a race of people from the planet Zemwali who are currently being enslaved and farmed on the Neveling Tower. Gels come in many different bright and vibrant colors that correspond with certain elements. Majority of gels come in three different shapes: cubes, pyramids and spheres. As previously mentioned, gels are indeed living organisms with thoughts, feelings and most of the time, memories of their life before being forcefully turned into a gel. When a gel is broken by a person or an animal, the magical DNA inside will bind with the DNA of the one that broke it, turning that person or animal into a being known as a Gell User, which are now able to use the magic of the gel. The element and shape of the gel will determine the magic abilities Gell User is capable of performing. Gel elements are the exact power a gel has. They can typically be separated into three different categories: nature types, mental types and abstract types. Nature type gels are elements that are heavily associated or connected to nature. They tend to be the most commonly found and most versatile of all the elements. The main standout being pterokinesis, which has the potential to not only control plants, but also fungi, rocks and earth. There's also aquakinesis, which can control not just water, but also ice and clouds. However, finding aqua and terra gels that can manipulate multiple aspects of their element is very uncommon. Mental type gels are gels that use the mind to manipulate various types of psychic and mystical energies. They are usually fairly rare and have a high learning curve. Memokinesis in particular is considered both difficult to master and very dangerous. On the tower, you need special permission to even own a memokinesis gel. Afraid of your mind getting read? Why not use telekinesis, which is immune to the other mental type gels? Abstract type gels control seemingly intangible or odd concepts, such as chronokinesis, which can manipulate speed of people or objects, and gyrokinesis, which can manipulate gravity and weight. While they sound overpowered, they are significantly weaker than they sound, making them pretty much equal to the power of gels in the other categories. With the exception of morphokinesis, a very rare gel that is heavily regulated on the tower to prevent widespread identity fraud. No two gels of the same element are the same, and can have different abilities, strengths and weaknesses, but we'll touch more on that later. Gell geometry is the second main method in which different gels are categorized. As the name suggests, this describes the shape of the gel. Now you may be wondering, what does the shape of the gel have to do with anything? So this gel is rounder than the other gels. They're all just toxikinesis gels. Yes. These three are indeed toxikinesis gels, but there is a significant difference. You see, the shape of a gel is determined by, well, the quality of the extraction. Sorry. I should probably word that better. The shape is determined by the way in which they were created. Is that better? Now, take a look at these three. This one here is a cube-shaped gel. rounded corners on the top, with sharper corners on the bottom. Very beautiful. But cube gels are unfortunately considered, well, lesser quality gels. They typically only have one attack or ability they are able to perform. They offer no stat boosts to their users and on the tower are often considered useless. However, I would beg to differ. Who knows? A cube gel could be hiding a very strong ability, so it's best not to take them for granted. Very beautiful. Very powerful. This gel here in the middle is a pyramid gel. Ah, that's right. You were in the last basics video, weren't you? Pyramid gels are considered the standard quality of a gel. They are the most common gel you'll find, usually having somewhere between 3 and 5 maximum number of different attacks or abilities they can learn and use. They also give 3 stat boosts to their user. Oh, may we zoom in a bit? Notice the curved faces of each side of the gel. It is said, the more curved a pyramid gel is, the higher quality it is. Sorry. I know you hate that word. I'll try not to use it again. And lastly, we have a sphere gel. Sphere gels are extremely rare and considered a luxury item on the tower that only the rich or lucky have a chance to get. It is believed that these gels have unlimited potential. Users who have used a sphere for decades are reported to still be discovering new abilities and attacks. On top of that, spheres give a whopping 5 stat boosts to their user. Of course, regardless of the shape, there is no such thing as a useless gel. In fact, without spoiling future chapters of the comic, all of the gels that get saved will be able to show their individual strengths, even if they don't have users. But that's a story for another day. In any of my videos, do you recall hearing sounds like this? Or this? Or maybe even this? Alright, you just heard them in the last section. These little noises are called gel signals. These are the sounds gels make. Unless they have a specific ability that allows for other types of communication, this is the only way a gel can speak. It may seem impossible to understand them, but perhaps by growing a stronger bond with your gels, you'll find yourself somehow understanding what they're saying. Soon you might be able to hold entire conversations. Every gel has their own unique signal, just like people have unique voices. However, unlike our boring regular talking, gel signals have been found to do more than just be used to communicate. Some gel signals are considered addictive. It is believed that listening to certain gel signals for prolonged periods of time can affect the mind in many different ways. It's believed that when multiple gels come together and signal harmoniously, it can boost morale and even make some gel users stronger for a short period of time.
But what happens if gels signal, and it's not harmonious?
There is no straight answer for this, but one can assume it would not be pleasant. When gels let out discordant signals, it's usually a sign of distress or anger. Let's just hope no gels get into a prolonged heated argument with each other. I honestly wasn't sure where to put this section, but better now than never, I suppose. So like I mentioned multiple times now, gels used to be Aultimin. But then Zeltsalu founded the Gel Farm and started the war that ended Zemwali, blah blah blah. You already know the gist of the story.
I beg your pardon?
What? Who said that?
Salutations.
What are you doing here?
My apologies. I know I'm showing up unannounced, but I simply cannot stand to hear the story of my people told with such apathy. It is especially disrespectful to my princess. I'm sure you understand.
Oh no. Sorry. I promise you, that wasn't my intention. It's just that, I've told the story multiple times on this channel and I was just giving a small summary.
Ah, I see. Well then, since you're so tired of telling that story, perhaps I should take it from here.
Hey. You can't just take over my video. I'm supposed to give the information.
Not to be rude or anything, but don't you think such info would be better told by someone who experienced it firsthand?
You make a good point. However...
Splendid! Glad we've come to an agreement. Salutations, humans. I am Weaver, Aultimin Royal Guard and the Princess's closest companion. It appears the majority of you have already heard about the horrific downfall of Zamwali, so I suppose I won't force you to hear it again. Instead, I'll give you more in-depth information about the Aultimin people that you may not have heard of. I tend to ramble a lot, so forgive me if I get a bit off track. As you already know, gels are created from us Aultimin. Before being forced into a shapely shape, we are born as sentient people. We're quite similar to humans, actually. Aultimin bodies are filled with magic that flows through our bloodstream and allows us to perform special abilities that can't be found in most other creatures. Oh, interesting fact. Most Aultimins, such as I, are only capable of using one element, but the royal family were special, and they were born with 2 to 3 elements. My princess is the only Aultimin ever recorded having 5 different elements. She truly is one of a kind. Sorry. Where was I? Yes. After becoming a gel, we don't exactly die. Our consciousness and spirit seem to be transferred into our new geometric bodies. When a user transforms, a spirit-like version of the Aultimin is able to come out of the shard and communicate to their user without signals getting in the way. Of course, Zeltzalu and his priests don't want the general public to know the truth about the creation of the gels, so after being extracted and turned into gels, we are essentially scared and forced into staying silent in Neveling society. Even when a Neveling uses them, Aultimin ghosts will not come out under any circumstances, or else risk getting taken away and turned into shards.
That's right. As a gel hero, it's important to remember that some gels may take a while to open up to you. They've all been through a lot while on the tower.
When the Aultimin inside of your gel opens up to you, they can provide you with tons of advice and information on how to use their individual abilities. They might even give you more insight on what to expect from Nevelings. So please, make sure to talk to your gels. I'm sure they'll appreciate your companionship. And I'm sure my princess will appreciate your attempts to aid our people. Oh, dear princess. Oh, how I would give up everything to end this, so we can be together again.
Weaver?
Oh, princess! What are you doing here?
I should be asking you the same thing. You're supposed to be protecting the dreams of the Aultimin on the floor.
Well, you see, I was just spreading the good word of your mission.
Oh, I see. I appreciate it very much, Weaver. But you know how much energy it takes for you to astral project yourself here.
But, Princess...
I can handle activity on the Earth. Please don't worry about me. You have an important job.
Yes, Princess. My apologies.
Don't worry. I promise, when the time is right, he will come find you and reunite the rest of the Royal Guard.
And I have no doubt that you will, my princess. Farewell.
Now it's finally time to get into the fun stuff. A gel user is a phenomenon in which someone fuses their DNA with a gel. The user's appearance changes and they gain the magical powers of the gel, which they can use however they please. Now I want you to bear with me, because this next part might sound a bit confusing. This is Betsy, a young human girl with a normal human appearance. Now when Betsy and her gel YuuPii come together and fuse, this is Star. Blue hair, blue eyes, blue cheeks and the drip. Despite the similarities, Star and Betsy are in fact not the same person.
Huh?
I know. Just calm down and hear me out. Yes, Betsy transforms into Star. Star and Betsy have the same memories, consciousness, mind and soul. And everything going on would lead to you believing that Star is just Betsy in different clothing, but they are not. Let me explain. When you fuse with a gel, your DNA literally gets rewritten. If you were to do a DNA test on Betsy and then a second test on Star, the results would show that they have no relation whatsoever. Heck, I doubt the DNA would register as human anymore, but it wouldn't register as Aultimin either. This anomaly is why they are called Gell Users and not a gelled human, or gelled dog in Geo's case. It's because of this, people will not recognize Star as Betsy if they didn't witness her transform in front of them.
Monii, that's called plot armor.
Yes it is. But it makes sense in the lore, so it's okay. Anyways, in order to tell if someone is a Gell user, you'll need to look for these key features. 1. Aside from skin tone, everything on the person is of the same or very similar hue. This includes blood and the inside of the mouth. 2. There is a circle, triangle or square shard somewhere on the person's body that matches the mono-hued color scheme. If the shard is red and the rest of your person is not red, that is not a Gell user. 3. Coming out of the shard is an accessory or article of clothing made of magic, like a cape, a choker, a scarf, etc. And 4. The person is able to use magic of a specific kind that matches the Gell element color and description. If all of these things line up, then you have found yourself a Gell user. While Gell users are stronger than their non-gelled counterparts, they are not invincible. However, they won't die if they take too much damage. Instead, they will simply be forced to de-transform and they will be unable to use their gel for a few hours. A Gell shard is where some of the magic energy that the user's body can't handle is stored. You can think of it as a sort of battery or indicator of how much magic a user is able to use. I'm going to be using the words user and use a lot, so get ready. When a Gell user uses any ability of theirs, it will cost some Gell energy, which is indicated by the Gell shard. Lower energy abilities will use a small amount of energy and higher energy attacks will use more energy. When a shard has no more energy inside, the user will not be able to use any magic. This means they will be unable to defend themselves if they get attacked and they will be forced to de-transform. But don't worry, Gell energy replenishes itself slowly over time. There are ways to speed up energy recovery, like having a Gell user ally who is able to use magic to restore energy instantly. Eating food is another way to restore energy quickly. Certain foods will even cause energy recovery to speed up for a period of time. By looking at the shape of the user's Gell shard, you'll be able to instantly know what the user's Gell geometry is. If a user has a square shard, it means their Gell is a cube. If the user has a triangle shard, their Gell is a pyramid. And if their shard is a circle, their Gell is a sphere. This isn't the only way to get information about a user by looking at them, which brings us to attached to a Gell user's Gell shard, you will notice a strange article of clothing made of pure extra Gell magic the user's body can't handle. This is called an append. Appends are the source of a user's powers and are created by a user's subconscious and is a visual reflection of their inner struggles, dreams or desires. For example, someone with a necklace append may have a humble heart, or have a desire to please those around them. While someone with a scarf append might prefer to stay in less crowded areas and prefer their own safety above all else. All appends are neutral and all have the potential to hint at good traits or bad ones. The stronger someone relates to their append, the larger it may become. This is typically a bad thing, since an append is typically a weak spot for Gell users. However, appends also have the potential to be used as weapons themselves if the user is creative enough to find ways to use it. Because an append is created subconsciously by the user and not the Gell itself, your append will be consistent regardless of whatever Gell you use. Can appends change over time? Short answer, yes, kinda. I can go more in depth into this, but I'll probably save it for another video in the future. When it comes to using a Gell, many different factors can determine what you can do, how you can do it, and how it will affect others. There are usually different types of abilities: attacks, defense, supports and more. All gels have completely different types of movesets and abilities. No gel is alike, including those within the same element. Oh perfect. Here's one of our main heroes now. Lightning here uses electrokinesis, the most abundant of gel elements. You'd think that would also make it the most boring, but that's far from true. Lightning here is considered a support, because his moveset consists of mostly moves that are meant to aid his allies. Whoa. Hold it right there, mister. There will be no fighting here. This is an educational video, and I'm not animating anything else. Anyways, Zoltage. Since you're here, you can be a great comparison for this section. If it wasn't clear enough already, Lightning and Zoltage are both electrokinesis users. However, they couldn't be more different in terms of their abilities. While Lightning is a good support who has decent speed, but poor defense and attack, Zoltage is more of a bulky attacker, who hits hard and won't go down easily, but isn't very fast. Lightning is able to hit enemies from a bit of a distance, while Zoltage does close combat. However, both are able to charge up themselves or their allies. Always keep your guard up, even if you think you're familiar with that element. You'll never know what they could be capable of. Phew. That was a lot. But I hope you all enjoyed it and found it interesting. This video actually took almost a year to make due to situations. But it's finally here and I can finally move on with my life, until it's time to make the next one. If you made it this far and haven't liked and subscribed, why not? Anyways, in the meantime, I'll get back to working on the comic that is taking longer than expected, while also working on another project that I will announce in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and also thank you to the lovely voice actors who lent their voices to Princess YuuPii and Weaver. Thank you to my lovely patrons as well. And thank you all who subscribed, liked the video and left a comment. You all mean so much to me. That is all, Monii out. Also happy 2025.